Hello, everybody. Before I get started, I just want to let you guys know that this video and this presentation has nothing to do about religion. I'm not knocking religion by no means. Um, I don't even go to church personally, but I do pray, and I do recall that I'm feeling hopeless and powerless and full of fear and just feeling powerless over a situation and just surrendering to a point where I finally get to a point in my life where I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm angry, whatever the case may be, and I finally just surrender and say, God, will you please help me? And there's got to be something special about that. There's got to be something special about that moment that you surrender. What I found out in many cases, not all, but in many cases, is that when I quit fighting, when I finally do surrender, that I am able to, find solutions or, get a different view on things and stuff like that. In many, many, many times in my life, I have reached out to God on several occasions asking for selfish things like, help me, fix me, or give me this, or give me that, or I want this house, I want this car, or I want this girl, or whatever the case may be. And, it just didn't seem right, truthfully, now that I look back at it. So I was raised in a family where my mother kind of made us go to church on Sundays, and it was a Catholic church. And like I said earlier, I'm not knocking religion by no means. But for me, it just wasn't something that I was interested in. I wasn't able to understand the message. I didn't feel the message personally. But the message that did get across to me, you guys, was that if I had committed a sin, that I was going to hell. And that scares the shit out of me. Excuse my language. But it scared the hell out of me, right? I was I grew up in a good part of town, right? Where a lot of the kids there did a lot of dirt. We had fun and we got in lots of trouble, right? So with the trouble came the consequences of my mother, and my mother is a Hispanic lady. And for my mom, she had a best friend. Her best friend was the leather belt, and so whenever we got out of hand, got out of line, my mother would say something like, in Spanish, she would be like, hey, go to your room and I'll be there. And we knew what time that was. I think just waiting in the room, was torture enough. I mean, I knew, the spanking, the whooping is going to hurt and stuff like that. But I do recall in those situations, in that situation, that it was just really, really painful. And I recall praying to God on several occasions. Those were those moments where, I would pray to God and I would ask Him to, don't let the whooping be so bad, or don't let it hurt, or, talk to her or fix her or something to that nature. One thing I did learn from my mom is how not to treat children. I would never spank my child, but back in those days, I'm 49 years old. Back in those days, being disciplined with a belt was pretty common, from what I remember. Not all the kids were being disciplined with belts, but many of the kids that I did know did, so it was really acceptable back in the 70s to get a whooping with a belt and stuff like that. So I do recall, like, when I was in that room waiting for her to come up with the belt to whoop us or whip me, I would pray, and I'd ask God to fix me and help me out, And like I said earlier, it didn't really seem to help, Or like when I would pray for something selfishly, What I found out later on in life is that my prayers have changed. I don't pray for selfish things anymore. I pray. I pray in gratitude. I'm just grateful for being healthy. I'm grateful for being able to help other people, or just grateful for my living situation, and just grateful to be alive, and so those are how my prayers are today. What I also have learned over the years is that being selfless has been a really good thing for me. So, what I've learned is that if I go into a situation where somebody asks me for a favor, I'm able to, and I do something free of charge and I expect nothing in return. I usually walk out of that situation feeling pretty good about myself. Like, hey, you know what? I did a good deed. So give yourself a pat on the back, David. So I usually feel really good about myself. And you know what? That's not something that I used to be. In the past, it was always like for selfish reasons, like, how am I going to make can I make some money, or are you going to give me a ride here, or something to that nature. And when it didn't go my way, I realized that, I would leave that situation angry or upset, or if I had expectations like, hey, I didn't do you this favor, but I want you to go do that or something, and it didn't go my way, I usually left that situation angry, upset, and stuff like that. So, my topics today are about praying for things that aren't selfish, and also doing deeds expecting nothing in return. It's worked for me, and I'm just asking you guys to give it a shot and see how it works for you. Thanks for hearing me out.